Alright, today we're looking at the Nezumi Voiture. Not sure if that's the correct pronunciation, but I guess you call it the Nezumi Voiture. Anyway, the model on this is the VQ2.501. As you can see, it has a mustard colored dial with off-white subdials and also black on the dial there. It has brushed hands with black subdial hands, and there is luminova on the hands and indices. I'll start the timer here. So this does have the Seiko Mecha Quartz movement, the VK63. It has a double dome sapphire with AR coating on the inside of the crystal, or the underside of the crystal. It's made from 316L stainless steel. And the case size is 40 millimeter. 40 millimeter case size without the pushers and the crown. The lug-to-lug measurement is 47 millimeter. This from the tip to tip here. And then the lug width, or your bandwidth, is 20 millimeter. It is 316L stainless steel. Thickness on it, from the case back to the bezel here, is 11.5 millimeter. And then when you consider the dome of the crystal, it's 12.8 thick. So the bezel is fixed, and this is an aluminum insert in here. It has the push-pull crown, so it is not a screw down. So that impacts water resistance, which is not much on chronographs anyway. Well, at least non-diving chronographs. So you just push and pull it. Oh, the subdial seconds there is hacking, but the chronograph is not. I just noticed that. I was expecting that center seconds hand to stop, but it's still running on the chronograph. So that's how you adjust the time. No date to adjust. So case back is a nicely engraved case back. It has a texture here as well. This kind of like a mesh pattern. So there's the Nezumi logo. It says creating bonds. Chronograph, tachymeter, sapphire crystal, again Voiture, 316L stainless steel, and Mecha Quartz. And if I zoom in here, you'll see below the 6 o'clock subdial it says Japanese movement. Just looking at the smoothness of the running seconds, or not the running seconds, the chronograph seconds hand there. It's ticking away, kind of looks like mechanical. So it is 50 meter water resistant. It kind of reminds me of a vintage Speedmaster. It has this kind of like a floating ring, this bezel on here, so it makes the watch look pretty thin. Thinner than the 11.5, which isn't that thick anyway, but it's not terribly thin either. So I've not had any other watches like this in my hands before with this kind of like a floating ring on here. So that's kind of neat. Also, it has these twisted lugs, kind of like an Omega would have on it, the Omega Speedmaster. These the lugs kind of swoop down, kind of remind me of a bird's beak, so that's interesting. Also, I would have expected the leather strap to maybe come down a little bit farther on this. It seems kind of superficial having these beaks on here, since the strap doesn't come down there either, that far down. So you can kind of see the lugs poking out from beyond the strap too when it's folded down there. It does have a sandwich dial, so it's multiple layers. The indices are raised up, and then you can see how the subdials are sunken down on the dial there. So the mustard and black dial is cut out with these subdial circles, and that's laid on top of another layer. So neat looking watch. It has loom, which I'll show in a minute here. Let me give a wrist shot here. Put it on my wrist. I have a 6.5-inch wrist, and I am on the second position here on the leather. Sorry, on the leather strap. So one more spot to go. Sorry about that. Let me zoom out here. So again, I have a 6.5-inch wrist, and lug to lug on this is 47, and the case size is 40. I think it's a good fit for my small wrist. It's a good looking watch. I checked out their website, and the price on this is $330, which I don't think is a bad price. It gives you that vintage diver look, vintage chronograph look, sorry, without spending big bucks on it. Zoom back in here. You can see the AR coating on the crystal there. Also, the crystal looks kind of like you can see the edge of it, so I'd call that a box crystal. I have another watch here to sit side by side by it. I've had this watch here in my possession for just about a week now, and I've also been wearing the Seagull. I'll make a video on this here shortly as well. I've had this on wrist for a week. So lug to lug is basically the same on these. The Seagull is a 38mm case. I'll show you a side profile just so you can see how this floating bezel kind of makes it look like a thinner watch than it really is. So the only real complaint I have with this Nezumi watch is it kind of had a little bit of a hot spot on this when I was wearing it on wrist. It's just the way the leather strap is constructed. It's a bit of a rough spot on this thread here. Might just be the way the leather's perforated, or not exactly sure what's going on with this, but this watch is part of a watch tour, a Random Rob watch tour, so I'll be sending this off to the next guy here very soon. Otherwise, I might try and maybe file that down, or I don't know how I'd smooth that out. So anyway, another watch here to compare the motion of the center second. Oops, wrong button. Anyway, reset. So this is a Bulova Lunar Pilot. I think the Bulova is smoother, but the Bulova is just a pure quartz watch. And then when I reset this, the hand just kind of lazily goes back. And this one here will snap back. Let's compare that to the purely mechanical. So it looks like a similar, maybe 6 beat rate on there, 6 beats per second. So, oh yeah, so this one snaps back as well, the Seagull. So let me hit this with a UV light and close it out with a lume shot. Not a dive watch, so the lume isn't the greatest, but I guess it's alright for what it is. Alright, have any questions or comments? Please put them in the comments. Thanks for watching.